What up, y'all? I know not everyone feels like listening to a 40+ minute poll plans video for the month, so I broke it up to abbreviate my thoughts in a more easily digestible way. I know half of y'all, though, ain't subscribed, so go ahead and do that. Like the video, leave a comment with what you think about the upcoming content and your plans as well. And if you want to see the whole video, I'll be providing a link to that as well. Check that out for sure. Thanks a million, and now let's get into what you're really here for, alright? Amidatellion's Lost Chapter. Something to note here is that this is the first Lost Chapter that is starting the trend of double LD banners. So all Lost Chapters from now on will have the returning LD along with a new one, which is pretty nice if you're looking to maximize the luck on your pulls for getting a single LD. As usual, multiple LDs on the banner does not change the odds of getting a specific LD, but it does increase the odds of getting one. So something to think about. Deuce is the headliner here, I should say. She's not getting a rework, unfortunately. I'll go into that later, why I think that. But her LD is new. It gives her a burst heal and a battery into 100% AoE with refund afterwards, and it gives her a new overhead that gives her granted buff extension, so every time she grants a buff, it'll last longer, gives her better longevity. She also gets an aura that gives the party 30% magic brave damage up plus 10% HP damage up, and this HP damage up is for all attacks, not just magic attacks. Stolen and gained overflow, like every support seems to be getting nowadays, and small attack up with some HP regen on the side, which is pretty nice. And she gets a free skill afterwards as well. Just something to note, I'm not sure if it's best to use the free skill on C65 for permanent uptime, but that might be useful. Just something to think about, because I don't think Deuce really has skill problems. That being said, she gets a ton of M Brave and attack from her limit breaks, which she really needed, and she gets a better Brave plus and HP plus, and she also gets the overhead at at quest start. So if you get her LD boards, you'll get that. Very beneficial. Her call abilities, now she has level 80, is her skill 2, and it buffs the party with generic and magic attack up, and her LD call, same as LD, burst heal into 100% AoE, and the effect is that the party gets a magic brave damage up 30%. And let me go back to the call ability. It's just a generic magic attack up. It's not an effect, so the buff can be pushed off or it can apply depending on what you roll. Anyways, lastly, her high armor is support, so she gets the 5% attack up with the HP damage cap. Like I always say, HP damage caps are better for support to give party HP damage up. I'm just a little bit sad that she didn't get encouragement since she batteries so much. It's not super needed, but it can be effective. Definitely grab it if you plan to use Deuce often. But if you don't plan to run her a lot, I wouldn't pick this up per usual. And Amidatelion is the other LD on this banner getting an upgrade, and she is getting buff start with 1 stack of the LD buff, more gained overflow on LD use, and longer buff duration. Not much else. This is also the returning LDs in these Lost Chapters aren't getting much generally, and Amidatelion really shows this off. Skill 1 is regular call ability, does damage, and it does the action delay down debuff if you don't already have the EX plus. Otherwise, debuff start takes care of things, and the LD call is just like the LD, set AoE, set to 0, and delete turns. Again, be careful with debuff start. This LD call is situationally useful if you're prepared to not have to deal with the insane amount of debuffs it drops. Having that debuff, the delay utility is pretty solid to have in your pocket. High armor, Ami already had the debuff armor, but if you didn't know, now you know. Well, what do I think? Well, Deuce got decent upgrades. She leans harder into her niche of making magic attack characters nuke. Now, I think she has like 100% magic attack up in total, and then 30% magic brave damage up, which is pretty solid, I'd say. On paper, her buffs are really good in magic teams, and she turns people, like I said, nuclear, and her roll coverage is wide now. She heals as well. Sadly, I think her base kit is still tragic, and I don't think the LD did enough to bandage it. But she could just sit there and be valuable as an aura bot, which is the easiest thing in the world to build around. Personally, I pulled her in JP, and I never found myself using her, not even as a call, except maybe like one off, but she's definitely viable, not a horrible pull. I just wish they would have given her a bit more personally. Maybe instant turn rate, free skill, or free turn on skill 1, and maybe skill 2 doing a bit more damage, but she's an aura bot, so I can't complain too much, like I said. And then on to Ami. Ami got next to nothing. Having her as a call for debuffs and clutch deletes is nice, but still does Ami things at the end of the day, and is valuable in the right setup, but debuff cluttering as of late is really a pain, so there is an opportunity cost. I talked to a bunch of people who bought into the initial Amidatelion hype and then ended up not enjoying because of the delete and then the debuff spam. So take that into consideration if you're trying to pick her up this time around. Personally, I value Deuce a bit more on Ami on this banner personally, but Ami is still plenty viable. Am I pulling? Well, I think I'm going to throw tickets to try and land both LDs. I have a little bit at this moment, or a lot of it. I think around 500-600. I've never had Ami's LD, and Deuce can be situationally useful. I think I'd stop after Ami's LD personally because I'm semi-interested in that LD call. But again, having that delete and delay, gravity call on demand and delete should prove handy in some situations, and I love to have that under my belt. As for reruns, Deuce does rerun with Vivi when he gets LD boards on Act 3, Chapter 4, Part 2 during X Death's burst cycle, and she gets Heimer Plus there. It doesn't catapult her into any newfound relevance, so if you're interested in Deuce, this is the time to get her. Otherwise, she'd just be consolation later, assuming you don't have Vivi and you're pulling on that banner. And Ami has yet to rerun at this point in JP. As for the fight, a quick note, I don't usually talk about challenge quests, but this one is strangely like tanky / tricky. I don't know why. I recall there being a different mechanics and more brave reduction on the challenge quest, which was odd. So this one might throw people for a loop, so just be aware of that. Anyways, the Lufenia, it's Earth and Holy Absorb, it's range resist, and the orb that you need to fulfill is HP regen, which is hilariously easy to satisfy. We have so many HP regen characters, including a stupidly broken Gladio. It was really good here. Same as the Chaos, you take a turn and then you get delayed by 1. It's actually a bit easier this time, since when they shell up and you break them, their defense and reductions drop. So instant breakers like an Enchanted Trey or Gabronth can serve well, so can gravity characters like Ami, Edward, etc. Just breaking them, and then I don't think this fight is too bad, honestly. Gladio is probably one of the MVPs for this fight, again, for his HP regen and protecting the party, because Gladio getting delayed is really good because he's not burning as many turns and he's getting more counters off. You can satisfy this with the HP regen sphere, actually, like the farmable ones from Terra's co-op. So if you got someone with a C-spare, maybe if you want to throw a C-spare on your Ami, just to make it so Ami gives like a 1% HP regen, you're probably not taking much HP damage from this fight anyways. So that could probably fulfill the orb as well. Not terribly difficult. Terra is obviously good with their consecutive turns, and Deuce will fulfill the orb obviously and make Terra hit harder if you decide to run her. Pretty straightforward, definitely one of the more relaxed fights of this month. Who am I running? Well, it depends on who I pull. If I get Ami, I will definitely use her just because I haven't done it before. Sarah is 500% going in my party, however. Maybe Pinello, if I get Deuce, maybe. It's pretty variable here. Definitely running Sarah, but otherwise, I mean, maybe I just run Gladio again, Gladio Squall. Tons of options here. Glad to see what people will come up with per usual. And that's it. Hope y'all enjoyed the clip and found it informative. I do try my best, generally. If you haven't already done so, please like the video, comment what you think and your plans, and make sure to subscribe to my channel for more great content. The full video is linked, so check that out as well. Continue showing love. Good luck, everybody. Peace.